Hello, I'm Tim Moody, President and CEO of Pan Global Resources. Pan Global has an advanced copper discovery in Spain and a new discovery as well that we're just drilling currently. So we have a big suite of additional targets. So I think we offer a low-risk opportunity for investors in terms of having a new copper discovery, very advanced, plus a portfolio pipeline of other targets ahead of us.
Tim, thank you very much for the introduction. Good to meet you finally in person.
Yeah.
We've been talking online for a number of months and years.
Yeah.
Here we are in Canada. We're blessed by the weather. It's jackets and no coats, which is a fantastic change from previous years when I've been cold as you like. And pretty tough markets out there. The junior resources space is pretty harsh, and I think Pan Global is no exception. You've been hit over the head with a cricket bat, really, in terms of the share price.
Yeah, it's been very frustrating, and I'm sure some of the other CEOs with copper projects in different parts of the world are feeling it just as bad as I am.
You're not alone.
So,
you're absolutely not alone.
But you know, I think we've just got to sort of weather the storm. We are fortunate; we've got money in the bank.
Yeah.
We've planned to take us through to 2025.
Yeah.
So that gives us an advantage, I guess, over some of our sort of other companies in the peers, if you like.
A massive advantage, because there's so many people that are looking for capital at the moment. To have your 2024 kind of funding in place is a really great asset.
And I think increasingly, and something I'm trying to get people to understand as well, is the jurisdiction advantage we have. I mean, Spain, people are starting to see, well, actually, this is a place you can do business.
Yep.
And it's an active mining area, and you can get permitting done in very quick time relative to most other jurisdictions.
I'm a huge fan of mining in Spain. I actually did 1 year of my geology degree in a Spanish university in the south of Spain, and I trekked all over it. If I was being devil's advocate, one of the challenges of the Pyrite Belt and that part of Spain is metallurgy. Typically, the ores are quite dirty. The mineralogy is quite quenched, and so it can be quite hard to liberate and kind of concentrate, get a clean concentrate. I know it's a bit early in your evolution, but just kind of any comments on that kind of aspect of the kind of the mineralogical aspect of your projects?
No, I'm glad you've asked that question. You're absolutely right. VMS type deposits, particularly those in the Iberian Pyrite Belt, but it's not exclusive to the Iberian Pyrite Belt. They can be dirty deposits, full of contaminant, deleterious metals, fine-grained, high in pyrite. These present challenges. Often the grade allows them to carry many of those sort of, problematic parts of the metallurgy. So we recognise that, and I think perhaps unlike a lot of sort of early exploration companies, we did some metallurgy very early on, just to give us an idea. We suspected just visually that La Romana, their main discovery, was a bit different. In fact, I put it to a metallurgist, a very experienced metallurgist, now retired, and he said, well, you should say this is not a VMS deposit. It's not a typical Pyrite Belt deposit, because it is different. So to get to your question, what is different about it? It's coarser grain. It's lower in pyrite than your typical massive sulfide type deposits. So that's obviously a big advantage. And we're seeing from the metallurgy tests we've done so far, which includes some lock cycle test results that we put out last year, that it's very low in deleterious metals. We don't expect any penalty contributions, so that's a big.
And that's from La Romana, which is the kind of the main anomaly, the main target prospect in the kind of southern portion of your kind of license holding.
So relative to all of the mines that are currently producing, we can see something that's very amenable to simple flotation at a primary grind size starting about 106 microns,
Yeah.
which is quite coarse relative to the other mines, which start sort of anywhere from 10 to 40 microns. So, so that's a big energy saving.
Yeah.
The low pyrite content is a big, again, we're not having to deal with that. So that means we can produce a higher grade concentrate,
Yes.
a higher quality concentrate because it's low in deleterious minerals.
I'm on one of my site visits out there, I actually brought back a lump of massive pyrite. And I had it in my house, and it just started leaking hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid.
Yeah.
It just kind of, I had to throw it away in the end. I had to give it away.
Yeah. Well, geologists love it because massive sulfide. They look wonderful, but at the end of the day, these massive pyrite bodies, pyrite deposits, which most of the mines are in the belt, they have lots of pyrite, a little bit of copper, a bit of lead and zinc, and that's what they mine. They don't historically used to mine the pyrite, but not now. So yeah, what we've got is a little bit different.
And the tin in La Romana,
Yeah.
because I know that there are tin deposits in that pyrite belt, but you've got a kind of a bit of copper and tin in La Romana, haven't you?
That's right. So La Romana has the highest tin grades that we're aware of any deposit in the Spanish portion of the Iberian Pyrite Belt. Neves Corvo was Europe's biggest tin mine.
Yeah.
Not everyone realises that. They're not producing tin as far as I'm aware anymore. I think Legado Salgado has a bit. I'm not sure if whether that's all cassiterite or not.
Right.
But it's not uncommon, but when you do get it, it tends to be associated with bigger deposits. And fortunately, the tin mineral we've got, almost 100% of it is cassiterite. So.
And why is that important?
Well, from a metallurgy perspective, cassiterite is the preferred mineral for metallurgical extraction of tin. So it's a very high density mineral, so it has a specific gravity of about 7, compared to, say, chalcopyrite, which is about 5.
Right.
So that means that you can separate it potentially, so by gravitational methods or possibly flotation. So we haven't published any tin metallurgy yet. The first tin metallurgy results should be ready to publish in the next sort of 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully.
Okay, good. I'd like to have a look at that. And so, just in kind of stepping back a bit in terms of summary, you've got the La Romana tin copper, the bottom portion of the license area, and that's kind of a couple of kilometres long. And then you've also got Cañada Honda, which is a kind of a relatively new addition which is quite close. It's kind of a matter of kilometres away, isn't it?
It's 3 kilometres to the north.
3 kilometres to the north.
And importantly, it's only about 4 kilometres from Grupo Mexico's sort of Los Frailes Asnocuellar mining project.
Okay. And is it the same geology?
Same geology. Yeah, it looks to be very similar geology. A little bit different in terms of the combination of metals, but it's essentially a long strike. So.
And so what's the plan for 2024 in terms of division of labour, drill rigs, drill meters, attention between La Romana and Cañada Honda? Yes.
So at this stage, our focus for the year is firstly to using the money we've got to take us through, as I said, to 2025. But we're going to focus the money on our 2, let's say, highest priority projects at the moment, the lowest risk. One is La Romana, drilling off and delineating the western extension. That will put us in a better position to come out with a resource, maybe later this year.
So it's kind of fences, kind of extending, potentially with enough data to get a resource, but not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Well, we believe we've got the drill density, we've got enough information there that we could put out a resource.
Yeah.
But we want to see where it goes. What are the dimensions of it? We can see potential for it to extend maybe another 300 or 400 metres from where it is, and then beyond that, some of the new exploration we've done is seeing some satellite targets which look pretty attractive as well. So we'd love to actually go and poke a couple of holes in some of those as well.
So is this strategy just to kind of keep growing, without putting a resource out? I mean, you don't feel an urge or a kind of a need to put out a kind of a maiden resource estimate because you think it's kind of you might as well just keep pushing.
Well, you might recall we only got access to the western half of the La Romana gravity anomaly, which was what we targeted that led to the original discovery. So up to that point, we drilled about 130 holes. We've now drilled about 180 drill holes, and we're continuing to test that western half of the gravity target. So we haven't seen the western limits yet.
Right.
So I think it's whilst we've got from the drill density we've drilled for most of the sort of 2/3 of the drilling so far would take it into a pretty high level of resource category. We want to see how big it could be before we come out with a resource. Why is that important? Because you come out with a number, that's what sticks in people's heads, and then forever you're trying to say, but no, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger. So I think what we'd rather do is just let's get an idea how big it is. We don't need to drill at the same density as we've been drilling to the east. We'll step out a little bit broader space to just to see where that western edge is. The other thing that will come, the other aspect of the plan is to further test Cañada Honda, which was a new discovery last year, as you know.
But before we get on to Cañada Honda, just in terms of kind of initial drill budget, in terms of meters, and I know that plans change with what you find and all that kind of stuff, but what have you roughly allocated as a kind of the initial work plan for La Romana in terms of meters for this year?
We've allocated, well, it's a little bit flexible. It's about 3,000 to 4,500 metres to be split between La Romana and Cañada Honda.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we really want to be somewhat flexible because Cañada Honda is very, very new, but it's pretty exciting. Yeah. We may, the drilling that we're doing at the moment, the planned drilling, which is about an 11-hole program, we're about halfway through that at the moment. If we really hit something significant on those new holes, then I think we might want to focus more drilling on that. Most people sort of understand, yes, they can see La Romana's there. It's going to be most likely a mine at some stage. Yeah. Just how big is it going to be is the question. But I think Cañada Honda deserves some drill money at this point. Yes, it's taking us away from delineating the western extension of La Romana to some extent. But if you consider that these things are mined generally as camps, Cañada Honda would be part of the same mining complex as La Romana. So if we can suddenly find La Romana ×2, that's a big potential price mover, price catalyst for the company. And
a lot of the discoveries in the Pyrite Belt kind of have originated with geophysics, and because you've got all the sulfides around, you can get these very good responses, either in terms of IP or historically gravity. I think Neves Corvo was and Las Cruces were gravity discoveries. How's your exploration linking with your geophysical data set that you've got at the moment?
No, you're absolutely right. It's a very geophysics-driven program, largely because most of the areas are covered by post-mineral sediments.
Right.
So younger, marine sediments or something which can blind, make it very difficult to see at surface. And then in the north, something like Cañada Honda is buried by older rocks. So you've got older rocks thrust over the top of the deposit. So that's a different type of burying, if you like, but it makes it, again, a sort of more difficult target. So we're using gravity as one of the tools. It's not the only tool, but it's a very effective tool, as you're right. Las Cruces was a gravity discovery. Los Frailes right near us was a gravity discovery. Neves Corvo and many others. And our own La Romana was discovered by drilling a gravity anomaly. So we're complementing the gravity with other tools like the helicopter electromagnetic survey we did nearly 2 years ago now. As well as follow up with ground IP quite often. We found that of the suite of things you can use, ground IP is very effective. You could go for some of the deeper looking electrical geophysics techniques, but we're still looking in the sort of the upper portion of the
What's
300-400
what's
metres.
the top 300-400 metres?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we do drill, we're using downhole electromagnetics.
Okay.
And that is really effective because if it can can see potential extensions of mineralisation if you intersect some, or it gives you the opportunity of seeing something that's off hole, so you may have missed.
Yeah.
So we're finding that combination of tools is being really effective for us.
And you now do that as routine?
Pretty routine. We won't do downhole electromagnetics on every hole, but where we're potentially testing the edges or we're doing a big step out, it makes good sense to do the downhole electromagnetics and get as much information from those step outs as we can. So, and as you've seen in the recent news releases, both at Romana and at Cañada Honda, where we've gone in and drilled geophysics, whether it's downhole EM targets or the IP or a gravity, we're hitting mineralisation pretty much spot on where it's been predicted.
So your vectoring is getting better. Your cracking of the code is improving.
I think so, because most of the times we go out there and drill, we're hitting mineralisation, and if we're not, we're hitting alteration. That's telling you you're in the right environment. So the combination is working. And we've now got 2 discoveries, and I think the prospects are making more. The geophysics is giving us a large number of things to poke drill holes at.
As a kind of running an exploration company, quite often you just need to kind of stick to your, just got to stick with your resolve and just say, this is what we need to do. We need to go ahead, we systematically test this, pick a lane and drive, do your good geoscience work. But there must also be a part of you which is wondering what it's going to get the market excited, because there's so much commentary about a shortage of copper discoveries, gold is having its day in the sun, tin is a critical mineral, silver is also kind of favoured by some investors. Do you have a kind of feel, aside from just kind of doing the kind of the steady and kind of the honest work of exploration, do you have a feel for what kind of the catalysts that you might be able to kind of get people's attention with? What would it take?
Well, I guess I can only work with what I can control to some extent. And beginning of last year, and I think it holds through now, I tried to position the company such that we're seen as one of the better investment opportunities when the market starts to turn.
Yeah.
Copper price could be a strong motivation for that. The copper price starts to really move, as some people are predicting, then we'll benefit from that, and I'm hoping we'll be one of the first choices for investors when things do turn around. So that's, I guess, for us a key. The other thing is the combination of metals that we've got. Copper. We were talking earlier about the longer term prospect for copper. I mean, it's hard to find someone who doesn't believe the outlook for copper is really strong. So there's that. Gold is getting more attention at the moment, with the price running over 2,000 an ounce. So, that's we've got some gold now. Tin, again, quite a nice metal to have. Doesn't always run with copper and gold, so it gives us another hedge. And then, of course, silver being another metal we've got at both of our new discoveries. So that combination. And I guess the other thing is the location, the jurisdiction. And the advantage we have there, I think, is very good. Southern Spain, the Iberian Pyrite Belt in particular, has to be one of the best places to be exploring or trying to get a new mine permitted anywhere in the world, in my view. And I'm not I don't say that lightly. I've been in the industry for nearly 40 years, so I think this part of Spain really stands out.
It's funny, when I did an interview with Mark Bristow, and I asked him, why didn't he just kind of want to focus on his North American portfolio, kind of a lower risk jurisdiction? And he just said, have you tried permitting a mine in North America recently? He said, there are other risks in other jurisdictions, but it's, North America and Australia are not without their permitting risks.
Yeah, look, southern Spain has a track record now, and things are only getting better. It's really encouraging that, tomorrow there's going to be a breakfast meeting with representatives of the Spanish government here at the PDAC, going to talk about how attractive Spain is as a mining destination. And I think we're starting to see those tangible, interest from the government in trying to make things better. It's very interesting, and hopefully I'll talk about this, that they've set up like an accelerator unit to fast track new mines.
Right.
I mean,
just in the south, or is it? Because
it's in Andalusia as far as I'm aware. Now, whether it's more broadly across Spain, I'm not sure, but it's something I want to find out more of. But this is a new initiative and a terrific initiative in terms of trying to cut through some of the red tape and get this on the top of the piles in the bureaucrats to get things permitted. Doesn't mean to say you can take shortcuts on things like the environmental side and so on. You need to do that really well. But providing you've done all that, they will move to get things done. And it's very interesting. Atalaya they announced they're getting permitted for a new mine, Masa de Valverde. I think they got involved there about 4 years ago, and 2 years ago they applied for the mining permit, and here we are 2 years later, and it looks like they've got the mining permit there. So again, another really good indicator. I mean, tell me where you can get a new mine permitted in 2 years. Nice. So I think this is a huge advantage for us.
Good. Well, really good talking to you. Thank you for the update. What can investors look for in terms of the catalyst over the next kind of 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, well, we've got a series of news releases sort of coming out. There'll be probably 2 news releases on metallurgy. One is the copper variability test, which is really important. This is where you start to see the value coming through, and that's where we're looking at sort of how the copper flotation will work at different parts of the deposit. We've got some early indications.
So when you say copper variability, you've taken different kinds of mineralization, different kinds of, let's call it ore, and seen how those different styles of mineralization respond to metallurgical.
Yeah, so the first lock cycle test gives you a flow sheet to work off based on which is a composite based on a collection of material across the deposit. So the variability test is we take more composites, but break it into different blocks within the deposits at different depths as well. So you can start to simulate different mining phases. So it's then a check. Well, did that flow sheet you derived from your early metallurgy work, which was a broader composite, is that going to work everywhere in the deposit?
Yeah.
So this is the first test on that. It's a really important stage because it gives you some direction. Okay, well, some areas you can perhaps get more out of that if you do some more work, or is it working really? Is it simple? Whatever. So that's the copper variability that's coming out. Then we've got the tin metallurgy. Now we've not produced any tin metallurgy at this stage. We've had some encouraging information. But this will be the first tin metallurgy results. So we've got the initial report from the metallurgists, and so we'll share that news just as soon as we can get it written up. So there's those 2. We've got more drill results to come in from Cañada Honda, and then we've got the additional planned drilling on the western extension of Romana and Cañada Honda as we go forward this year. I think that will enable us to keep some consistent news flow through the year. And look, we're also working in the background to advance some of these other targets. Another important catalyst could be the access to the Bravo target.
Yes.
Big gravity anomaly just to the east of La Romana. It could be nothing, or it could be something really good. So.
And any indication on timelines on that? Conversations? Yes,
we were making good progress, and there was an error in some of the documentation, not from us, from the government when they issued a resolution to help with the access. So that's all been fixed now. I'm quite optimistic within, if not this quarter, next quarter, we'll have made sufficient progress to get access to it. But And then we need to rank that against the drilling we're doing at Cañada Honda and La Romana. Do we go and start drilling there? But I think whatever, we'll be hitting the ground on that target just as soon as we get the access. There's other geophysics work and the mapping and all that sort of good stuff that we need to do on that target. But really, really exciting.
Well, Tim, the market needs every copper discovery out there to advance. And good luck with Pan Global, and I look forward to catching up with you during the course of this week, and also as the news comes out in the months ahead.
Thanks, Mel. Thank you.